And here we are on Antigua Shipyard, and down in the lower right-hand corner, we have our red Zerg player from SlayerS. Relative unknown, but then again, so is Dark. We'll see if he can make some waves here in this match. It is KDY. His opponent in the upper left-hand corner from Evil Geniuses, the Teal Terran player who's won 2 games in a row. It's Puma.
Okay, so not only are the records and the tournament wins and the current score and the momentum and all these things stacked up against KDY, but it's also on Antigua Shipyard, which is pretty well known, pretty well documented as being somewhat Terran biased in this matchup specifically, TVZ. So the fact that KDY chose this map is a little interesting to me, so we'll see what he's got prepared for a monster like AG Puma.
I've got to anticipate that this is purely a snipe. He was prepared to play against Puma and is now being brought in to do just that.
He's going to have to do more than just that. That's the problem. If he does snipe Puma, he's still got a huge roster of multiple races and multiple tournament winners to be able to get through.
That's absolutely right.
Yep. All right.
And these games, the first set of games that we played that were casted SlayerS MVP, that was at a time when Puzzle was still actively playing with the rosters, so this is after he had withdrawn from the few tournaments, and, you know, people are a little bit questionable about his status in pro gaming in general, so it doesn't look like that he was available, but then again, you know, we still haven't seen players like MMA, we still haven't seen players like Coca, so a little bit surprised. We did see Genius. I mean, Genius did come out at the very beginning.
And they led with him, perhaps to, again, try to score that nice map score, try and get Genius to clear the way as much as possible so that players like KDY and Dark could try to clean things up, as they did against MVP. But yeah, they're not facing Monster and MVP anymore. They're facing EG Puma, who is on a roll, and he actually showed some great tech skills, some mech skills in the previous game on Antigua Shipyard. So I was not Antigua Shipyard, sorry. Atlanta Spaceship.
Yes. And
now we're on Antigua Shipyard, so he could be doing the same sort of thing.
Okay, well, we'll see what Puma has in store. It scores a 1-Rax gasless fast expand to begin things, and double gassing afterwards. This is pretty normal Terran play. I would expect Puma to resort to something very standard, you know, in this situation, and indeed he is. See a factory coming up after this, probably Banshees in a 3rd command center, and then likely mech afterwards, but he could, with the use of double gas, just immediately slap down 2 engineering base and start investing into bio upgrades.
Yeah, and KDY on the other side still playing very normal stuff as well. Just a couple of lings now that his hatch and pool are finished. He can send those kind of around the map to do more scouting. He can hold on to the Zelnaga Tower. He can deny a 3rd base, or at least monitor it with another ling. He can even run in and try to, you know, claw down some SCVs, but Marines will be out by that point. So, yeah, just going to do very normal Zergy things, going back to macro tools now, drones, overlords, and queens.
Yeah, and in fact, it looks like it's going to be a 4-queen build, as he has not gotten gas so far, nor has he gotten another hatchery, and we'll see if he decides to drop down 2 more queens in just a bit. He has the resources and supply, and yes, 4-queen build, so lots of creep spread, and you need it on Antigua Shipyard, especially with the running pass and how quickly Terran players can reinforce their units. Need that creep to be right through the middle of the map where this Zergling is sitting. All
right, so 1 ling hanging on to the Zelnaga Tower. 1 is going to probably just monitor that 3rd base for a while yet to come, and the other 2 lings can just kind of freelance. They can roam around, try to do spotting on Marines, try to defend the base perhaps, but he's got his map coverage that you normally see with those first few lings, and no additional tech yet, no Zergling speed obviously, as those 2 extractors did just come up, and Puma on the other hand already getting a starport made, so Banshees could be showing up here relatively soon.
Definitely, and you know, Banshees usually do start Terran builds off now, but the question is, like I said, what do you do afterwards? With the gas that Puma's accumulated, it'd be very easy for him to go double armory and just immediately put down his go into mech as the game wears on, but he could, like I said, decide to prioritize out bio upgrades because he'll have the gas to invest in 1-1 stim and all that right away.
All right, a couple of Hellions coming out now, so he will be able to, poke around in the natural. No no third base established yet for KDY. So those queens will be a nice deterrent. Oh, wow, nice by Puma actually finding that Ling. So it will not be able anymore to scout for that third base. That Puma has not started to build yet, so that's fine. Either way, yeah, the Zolnaga Tower Ling is going to run away. Hellions are going to try and chase it down and not head on straight to the natural. This is going to give KDY more time to prepare. He's actually getting a lair before a third hatchery, so he is actually going to try and do some tier 2 stuff. I'm not sure exactly what he's got in mind. Perhaps a Spire, as he is saving a lot of gas now. Right,
well, there's Evolution Chamber number 1. And thank goodness, because we do have Cloaked Banshees coming out for Puma, deciding to put up the Banshee, of course, before he gets Cloak. And it's a little bit interesting because most Terran players are going to want their Banshee to be flying across and Cloak to finish up right as it makes its way there. But Puma looks like he's going to be a little bit more worried about collecting his Banshees together, almost the way that Protoss players play with Phoenixes and move out with multiple Cloaked ones at the same time.
Yeah, that could be very devastating if KDY is not prepared for it with his Queens and good Spore Crawler placement. Did he even build any Spore Crawlers yet? He's got the Evo Chambers, obviously. No, has not built any Spore Crawlers. I just saw another Spine Crawler complete. That's definitely not going to help against double Banshee. There's the Spore Crawlers coming now for KDY. The Baneling Nest is going to complete now, and Burrow is about to be completed, so he could actually go for some Baneling landmines. He could actually go ahead and get some upgrades as well for Baneling speed. We'll see what he's got in mind for those guys. Still no Spire. There's the Infestation Pit. I was looking for any tier 2 building. There's the Infestation Pit coming now.
Now, we saw yesterday in the matches of Hyun versus Gumiho a kind of a representation of this continued trend that Zerg players have had recently, which is going towards a little bit fewer bases, a little bit higher tech, getting towards tier 3 a bit quicker. But this is close to an extreme version of that. And we have the Baneling Nest, we have the Infestation Pit, we have 1-1 upgrades, all off of 2 bases. Third hatchery's only just now being put down. So Puma, with this third base almost complete, will be in a very nice economic position. Oh, especially with stealing so many kills, he may even be able to get that queen.
Yeah, he definitely could, and 2 more are approaching from the right side now with the Overseers helping out. They're not going to be able to cloak, but they will be able to escape just barely with that Banshee on the left being able to get out of there. So he probably should just return home and try to repair up, because with the Overseer in the sky now, all those queens and all those Spore Crawlers, I really can't imagine him getting too much more damage done.
Nice job just clearing up more active creep tumors. He goes ahead and cloaks up again. He sees the Banelings morphing in. He's going to be able to start doing some damage over here at the third base. Just really everything is working out for Puma that he's tried so far.
Yep, and now with vehicle upgrades starting to roll, he's got +1/+1 on the way. I have to imagine, yep, there's some more Hellions. Could be adding on more factories as well. Siege mode eventually as well should be coming up. He was very successful with Mech in that last game against Dark, so I really don't see why he shouldn't just give it another try here against KDY.
Mech is really, really powerful at the moment. With 3 factories down, he can produce a lot of units at the same time. This is another tech lab? Yes, it is. So a little more conventional mech strategy, not going for the huge Hellion powering build that he did last time.
Yeah, no, what was it, 24 Hellions I think we had against Dark at one point, and you know, he's just going to keep it a little bit more conservative. Splash damage is really the focus of a build like this, though. Until Mutalisks start to come in and start ruining your day, then you can do that fast swap into Thors and Vikings instead of the Banshees, Tanks, and Hellions. So this is a nice, basically, build that covers everything. When you start off, the splash damage can be really, really hard for a Zerg player to get around because they are focusing on lots of units, lots of Lings, lots of Roaches, things like that. Banelings getting splashed down by Siege Tanks is always a terrible feeling for a Zerg player, but Hive is actually coming for KDY considerably faster than we saw Dark on the previous map.
And he's got a Spire coming up, so he'll be able to have a lot of tech transitions available. At first, with the way he was investing in upgrades and waiting on that Spire, I thought he was just going to go straight into Ling and Fester Ultra, but it looks like he'll have that Broodlord switch available to him pretty soon if he wants.
That's right, and if he does go into Broodlords, that'll continue to make a sort of domino effect, and Puma will be able to respond with lots of Vikings. We did see Hyun have a lot of success in ZVT with those Broodlords and just having tons and tons of Corruptors and some Infestors on the ground to be able to support them. So if KDY can play like Hyun, obviously he's got a chance, but I don't know if he can play like Hyun.
If only we could all play like Hyun, then we'd be doing fine. But
yeah, we'd all be rich.
Yeah, no kidding.
Except if we all played like Hyun, Hyun wouldn't be able to win Fight Club 8 weeks in a row.
That's right. He'd find a way to actually take a step up, though, and beat everyone else.
That's probably true.
I have faith in Hyun.
Yeah.
Well, this Banshee, which has lost a little bit more health there, still does provide utility. Takes out a hatchery, at least prevents it for a good long time. Drone making its way up and over to the right-hand side, but of course there's already a Marine to stop that. Looks like there was a bit of an escort being run, but still, this is going to be stopped for a while.
Neural Parasite is coming out now for KDY, so I wonder if tank stealing, Thor stealing is kind of on his mind. Lots of Corruptors coming out now, as well as that Greater Spire, so Broodlords will be coming out eventually. Nice fungals onto those Cloaked Banshees. The infested Marines there are able to finish off one of them, almost get the second one, but the fungal does the job there. Oh, nice fungal hitting some Hellions and Banshees, but these Lings are not going to be enough for this huge number of Blue Flame Hellions.
Oh, Blue Flame Hellions can tear through their Lings so quickly. That wasn't actually the most efficient use of Infestors as well. He lost 3 of them, and you can see how much energy is missing on the remaining ones. Only 2 of the Infestors really intact with all that energy, and Puma's pushing across with a huge force.
Yeah, this is a lot of Hellions. Only 2 Banshees overhead this time instead of that 5 we saw previously. Thors are starting to come out now, though, as he has seen the Corruptors. He knows that that Spire is, nearly complete. The Greater Spire is at least on the way. He hasn't seen any Broodlords yet, but as he pokes in here, this is a great time to start reinforcing with those Thors before Broodlords become a problem. Siege tanks being scattered like this is great because it's going to reduce the amount of time that, it'll reduce the amount of, what am I trying to say? Coverage, I guess, that Lings and Banelings will be able to sneak in and be able to kill all of them. So, yeah, ooh, wow, the Hellions actually getting a lot of damage done inside the natural.
Okay, but the Infestors do sneak back up. They drop down a lot of infested Terrans up at the front. The Blue Flame Hellions had been knocked down a little bit, but there's still enough to be able to drive away these infested Terrans very, very efficiently. 2 tanks have fallen, but Puma is still reinforcing with a few more units, and he is just taking the map. He's putting command centers everywhere.
Yeah, there are command centers just taking his entire half of the map. Broodlords are out now, though, and no anti-air to speak of here for Puma, so KDY is going to be able to battle this entrenched position of Puma, take out the last of these tanks, and eventually be able to establish himself a little bit more. But the fact remains that Puma's been the aggressor for the better part of this game and has had a lot of time to get his economy just pumping away now.
That's right, and as you can see, he's going to be on 7 command centers here. It's pretty good. A lot of those becoming planetary fortresses. No, just the one in the middle. Okay, so the rest are going to be orbital commands, and he'll be able to spam down quite a few mules in addition to the 70 workers that he already has and the good gas income that he's established for himself.
Yeah, with so many bases, he's already on par or ahead, definitely ahead actually with mules of his Zerg opponent. These Hellions are just going to get chewed down, of course, by the Broodlings and eventually replaced with bigger, beefier units, I have to imagine. Sensor tower being placed somewhere by Puma, probably closer toward the center of the map. Big drone kill there. And actually, if the Roaches stand on top of the drones, that's going to allow the Hellions to kill the drones underground without even seeing them, but that's okay. Scan is dropped anyway, and the Hellion does score a lot more worker kills.
He killed 14 more workers there, even after the Hellions were already picked up on and being fired on by the Roaches. There was just not much done by KDY to react to that, and he lost a lot of economy in return. He's down to 62 workers now, and that's not where you want to be as a 4-base Zerg supporting Tier 3 tech.
That's right, especially when your Terran opponent has the entire half of the map situated, and the planetary fortress obviously is always a tough thing for Zergs to be able to break. Broodlords do help if you have the Zunlaga Tower positioning, but these Hellions are just relentless, man. They're going to score so many more drone kills. KDY not able to respond to this because he is paying attention to the center of the map, trying to assault the Thor and Siege tank position with the Broodlords that he has in the air, but pretty much every single drone is getting taken out there by Puma. 62 workers killed. Yeah,
well, he just doubled his workers killed. His opponent's on 44 workers now altogether. Pretty good fumbles to pin down a lot of the Vikings, but the Corruptor count's pretty low, and the Thors are actually able to splash damage most of those out, so even though the Broodlords are going to rack up some kills here.
One Neural
Parasite to take over that Thor for a little while, but even with that, the Broodlords are being whittled down one by one. It's 110 supply and falling for KDY at the moment.
Yeah, Neural Parasite, really great for motherships, not super great for much else. He stole 2 Thors there. I'm not sure really what use he got out of them, as everything he had still ended up dying. Lots of Infestors still standing, but the entire Broodlord and Corruptor force was dealt with by essentially just Thors and a handful of Vikings. things.
And because of those 62 workers killed to just 4, Puma pretty much has the map. He has everything in control. And I gotta say, I mean, I'm not trying to count KDY out, but things are looking good for Evil Geniuses to go 2-0 in the group.
That's right. If Puma can close the deal here and continue assaulting these bases, continue moving in with the Hellions, continue killing all these valuable workers, if he can just keep these forces alive, that'll be quite a great performance from him, taking out 3 players from SlayerS. Huck, of course, doing the additional work with 2 kills of his own. So, you know, the EG roster, as big and beefy as it is, not even really having to be displayed here in this premier match. SlayerS, KDY, not really sure what he can do at this point. He is making a lot of Lings and Roaches, but those are not going to stand up to Blue Flames and Thors.
No, not at all. And you don't want to be on this tech when your opponent's throwing that many Thors at you. And these Infestors do not have that much energy. There's only a couple of them with energy remaining, trying to throw down a few more Infested Terrans. And that's literally all of their energy now, so they will be able to do nothing else. And Blue Flame Hellions are there cleaning up a lot of those units pretty efficiently. So many Thors still at the back, and with their 2-2 upgrades can just obliterate the Roaches.
That's right. Now that he's fully in here, oh, never mind. KDY is just going to go ahead and GG, and that means Evil Geniuses takes out SlayerS 5-1. A couple of months ago, I would have said you're crazy. That's never going to happen, but Puma and Huck got the job done in IPTL Premier Division Group A.
In style, nonetheless. Yeah. 5-1, as we mentioned. We saw Genius in there as well, and he was brushed aside by Huck
pretty
with
quick
no
game.
problem. So congratulations to EG. They are now 2-0 in the group. SlayerS still 1-1. They have a fighting chance. They still have to play Team Liquid left in the group.
Yep, so Team Liquid looking for, are they looking for a win still? I think they're 0-1
yes,
at the moment.
Are.
So
they are. Yes, they are not doing so hot at the moment. They're actually 0-2.
Oh, yeah.
They have lost to both MVP, and they've lost to Evil Geniuses as well. So the remaining opponent, SlayerS, are really hoping for that situation of all 1-2s, which is weird because now they have to root for Evil Geniuses in the next set to go 3-0 so that everyone's kind of a 1-2 situation and they still have a chance.
Yeah, Liquid would need, in order to advance at this point, Liquid needs Evil Geniuses to defeat MVP.
Yes.
And Liquid needs a good map score because SlayerS is a, well, not SlayerS doesn't really have a great map score anymore, do they? Because they just lost 1-5.
Yeah.
But yeah, but obviously map score is going to be our tiebreak if that 3-way tie does happen. So Liquid rooting for Evil Geniuses, yeah.
So if you're curious about the way the division actually sits right now, Evil Geniuses is 2-0. SlayerS and MVP are both 1-1. Liquid is 0-2 at the moment, but of course map score is quite in Evil Geniuses' favor, as you just said. So that's going to be it for us tonight, guys. Tomorrow we're going to be back with more Premier Division action. It's going to be Group B, and we're actually going to have StarTale going up against TSL. So I think that'll be a fun match. TSL obviously represented by some of the strongest Zergs in the world, including this guy Hyun, who's won 8 of our last
Never
fight
heard
clubs. Really?
No.
He's pretty good.
Are you saying Byun? I know that guy. He's a Terran, though.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. No, this is Hyun.
Oh, okay.
Hyun and Byun fighting next Monday.
How Hyun?
That's...
How fun that's going to be.
Follow our social media devices. You'll see them down underneath us. We are at IGNProLeague on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. If you're on Twitch TV, please do click the follow button as well. It really does help us out, and we appreciate it. You can find us on Twitter. I am at KevinAki. He is at AskJoshi. And finally, we want to remind you guys that we have a bunch of stuff, a bunch of information up about IPL 5 already. Head over to IGN.com/IPL5 for more information. You can purchase your tickets through there. You can pick up discounted hotel room packages. All the information about the schedule of when GSL is going to be during our event, down to our League of Legends tournament and Shoot Mania tournament even going up there as well.
That's right. And the Shoot Mania tournament, again, resumes tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Pacific. If you feel like watching that, Kevin and I will be casting some of the best teams in Europe. We're down to the round of 8 for our first IPL 5 qualifier for Europe. There's some great teams in there. Millennium, Eclipsia, Epsilon, Dignitas, of course, is still in it. So some teams that you may have heard of from StarCraft 2 also playing Shoot Mania. We're glad to see them. We'll have one of them at least qualifying for IPL 5 in the end of November as well.
Right.
And yeah, you can see all the Shoot Mania stuff at shootmania.ign.com, including a way to claim yourself a beta key and get started playing yourself. But that's it for the Shoot Mania spiel. And the StarCraft games were pretty great today. Huck and Puma flexing their might on SlayerS.
All right, well, there we have it, guys. That's it for us tonight. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you tomorrow once again for StarTale versus TSL.